Hey YouTube, welcome back. So today we are going to talk about my role change at Microsoft. So I posted a tweet on Twitter that I did a role change and I'm want to make a video about that and what are the things you are gonna want to know, right? So certain people pointed out certain points that they want to know, and I have got some pointers about that as well to talk about. Apart from that, if whatever we discuss in this video, if you feel like anything is missed and you want to know, just comment in this video or shoot out a DM on any of these profiles or link in the description, any of the LinkedIn, Twitter, anywhere, right? Otherwise, if you are a Microsoft employee and you want to do a role change or you want to try for other roles or interested in other roles, just ping away on Teams. So let's get started with this role change video. So there are various things that was going on in past 2 years at Microsoft. So I am at Microsoft from last 2 years, and I have been working with them in their entity known as IGD. But now I have transferred to other entity known as IDC. So the first question comes in mind, like if you're working in a tech stack or a role, why would you change your role and why would you do that, right? So this have a very long answer and very descriptive answer, but I will try to make it shorter and a kind of open discussion to everyone. So when you're working on a tech and working on a tech stack or something, like some point of time you feel like let's try some other thing, and or you find an interest over a period of time to do something else and you want to try that, right? So that's also happened to me. I was in a role that was most on the customer facing side. So this is my personal experience. Whatever talked in this video are personal experience. None of this enforced to do the same thing. It's just my personal experience. This video is not about I did a role change and you should do that as well. This video is all about how I changed my tech stack, role, how was the journey all about, right? So the first thing is why. So I was into a customer facing role as pointed earlier, and in that customer facing role, I as a tech as a engineer or a tech guy, I wanted to be in a role where I work on a particular tech stack for a long time, right? So I gain deep expertise in that, right? So this is my personal preference. Some people like to explore various tech over the period of time and gain expertise all of them, but my thing was, for now, it's like gaining expertise is one of them very nicely, then moving forward with that tech and other techs as well. So in the customer facing role, what was happening was I was into various projects over the period of these 2 years, and I was given various tech stack as well. So I was working on React for the first time, then I moved to Angular, and then React again or Angular again, right? So what was happening is, as a UI developer, I felt like I want to, this is again personal, right? I want to have a tech stack very strongly approach. It's good to have various tech stack knowledge as well, but I want to have a very, very deep knowledge in one of them, then explore other, right? But it was changing here and there. So some people like that, some people don't, and I was on the second one. I didn't like that actually. So I wanted to be into a product kind of role where I experience the product, I build upon that, I build upon the tech stack, I build upon everything around that product, and then move on to others, right? In the services kind of business, what happens when a project comes in, you deliver it and it goes off, and then you have to shift to other project. But I want to do the other thing out, right? Not this one. So that was the first reason I wanted to look out for, but this was the very minimal reason, because again I was getting to explore the tech stack I wanted, because there was a one good thing is, like, whichever tech stack you want, just go ahead and choose that and you get that project, right? So that was one good thing. But there is a big reason for changing. This was the very small and minimal reason, but there is a very big reason that took a more turn for changing a role. That is known as interest, right? So I was a part of UX team, right? And in that UX team, what you used to do is we used to design as well, we used to develop the front end as well. So it's like front end engineer plus UX designer, so both of them was there. So over the period of time, there is some concept known as design system in the UX world, right? And design system, like if you don't know about that, you can like go ahead and search on the internet. It's like very vast topic to handle. So I developed an interest on design system. I work on certain libraries, and I felt like this is the one thing I want to explore further, right? So I kept looking outside to the open source world and other places like where I can find to work on the design system, right? And I'm glad I found one design system, that is Fluent Design System, that is a part of Microsoft. So Microsoft has a design system that it maintains, and all of the Microsoft product, most of the product basically, and majority take inspiration from that design system, take the components of design system and build products on top of that. So I just felt this is like great. I mean, like this could be great change, like if I move into that team. So I started exploring upon that, right? And this is the second question on the video we're going to talk about, but this is what happened. I was interested in design system. Microsoft has a design system team, and there was an opening. So this is how it went, and this was the reason, like in the interest developed over a design system, I wanted to pursue it. That's why I took a bold decision of changing a role to a design system engineer mostly, right? So this was the major reason for role change, like the interest on design system. So now let's talk about this second part, that is so the second question is, I would love to know the entire process, how you took this decision, that we already talked about, but we are gonna explore more onto that, the support you needed and how you executed it, right? The first one, I would like to know the entire process. So the best thing about Microsoft is it is an equal opportunity employer. It doesn't differentiate the outside candidate, internal candidates. So if you're interviewing for a position, you'd be treated as the same as other candidates, right? So that opens opportunity for everyone for a role, like equal opportunity for everyone, right? So how I executed it, I went to the career site, found a role, applied to it, gave the interview just like an external candidate with them, like and after the result it came in, what happens as an external candidate, same it happened as an internal candidate as well. So there is no much difference to it, right? The support you needed. So again, the best thing about Microsoft is the managers. One of the best thing from Microsoft are managers. So managers are very, very supportive here. Like if you tell them like what are your interests, what are your career development plan you want to put out, they will obviously like gonna support you. So in Microsoft we have an internal career development plan as well. I don't want to name it, but we have that where we document our what are the career plans you want to pursue, or what are the things you are pursuing in the next 3 months, what you have done in the next previous 3 months, to record it everywhere, right? So I already mentioned in my career plan that I want to pursue a design system engineer role, and I feel like I can do better in that what I'm doing currently. So can we plan according to that? So they will also support finding mentors who can mentor you, who can give insight like what design system engineer does, or how you can move into roles, what are the qualities you should have before moving into this role. So I just started exploring, talk to various people. My manager also helped me out to find mentors, talking to the mentors, right? Then I felt like okay, I felt like this is the time, like I think I should move, and design system role I want to pursue. So this is how support it added. And execution, again, like go to the career site, look for opportunities, look for JDs and everything. If you feel like you can do better in that, you can obviously go with that. Of course, you can also ping the hiring manager and the recruiters to get more insight into that role and what it offers you and how you can help the team as well, right? So this is how we answer the second question. Now comes the third one. Some React Native roadmap for native developers who only know Java or Kotlin and want to explore React Native in less time. So I moved into React Native team currently. So I am a part of Android Sphere team where I handle the React Native part, where we develop React Native component that eventually goes into Android and other platforms as well. But I mostly see into Android platform. So for me, I have been like front-end developer, back-end developer, like full stack developer, as well as Android developer as well previously. I have done like native Android development, Java. I have done React Native development as well previously. I have done Flutter development as well, right? So to answer this question, I was a Java Android developer basically with Java. So I had previous experience of building apps that are in Play Store basically, right? So that obviously helps, but the roadmap kind of thing, this is a separate video that I am planning and I'll bring out soon in this channel. If you're a native developer, how we can move into React Native. If you're not a native developer or anything, like how we can move from React Native to like from other tech stack to React Native as well. So I'll stay tuned for that. Like this will call out for separate entire video. So I have been doing front-end development from past like 3 to 4 5 years, and was at Microsoft full-time in a front-end development UX engineer role for the past 2 years, right? So everything was web. So now I have moved into mobile, that is React Native, right? So how things change for you? So this was the question, the next question. So let me tell you, like mobile and web are totally different world. They have their own challenges, own set of opportunities in built upon top of that, right? But the thing is, right now what I'm experiencing, let me share that. On the web, the understanding of webs browsers are very much required, right? Because there itself your web app runs. You have to understand the platform, you have to understand compatibility, and you have to understand how the browser works eventually. Similarly here as well, if you're building an app, it's gonna run into a platform, right? Be it iOS or Android or Windows or anywhere. So you have to understand the platform well, right? So there was browser. So here again we have Android platform. We have to understand Android platform, how React Native views are converted into Android native views, and how Android generally works, or how iOS generally works, how Windows generally works. But the overall idea is you write JavaScript code and it's converted into native views. So you have to understand how this JavaScript code is converted to a native view as well, right? So you have to have an understanding of writing native views as well, which exposes some API to the JavaScript, where you can write JavaScript, JSX, like whatever React Native supports, and ultimately it will convert it into native views, right? So again, the first thing, platform understanding is required. As a web developer, you understand web, mostly web browsers. So here, like most understanding of Android as a platform, or iOS as a platform, or Windows as a platform is required. Next thing is this is a tough one, like the deployment process. Over the years, I have seen like deploying in machine, like virtual machine, taking an issue to instant and configuring itself and deploying to the one click deployment, like Netlify, Vercel, any other platform as well, right? I have seen that as well. So web has been rock solid. You just click and it's deployed, or you push the code and it's deployed. But mostly what happens in the mobile deployment I have experienced is like every time you throw a new features and you have to build everything, app that APK, again upload that APK to the Play Store, then the update goes in. So that deployment upload phase is later. Of course there are other ways like code push and all without deployment you can do, but again it has own challenges of deployment, not like web is lot how faster these days according to deployment, according to see the changes and all. Here we have to build, see, deploy. It's a bit difficult, right? This was the changes I experienced. Again, the third thing, the architecture and team working. Basically in web, what happens, you have a web team, front end, back end, DevOps, it goes on, right? But in here, like the architecture is a bit different. If you have a React Native team, it builds upon React Native, that is fine. But if you have a team that have separate Android, separate iOS teams, right, the communication becomes very important between them, because they are developing the same design that they have, right, for iOS and Android. So you want to have your app feel like same in iOS and Android. So the correlation between both of the developers, iOS and Android developers, needs to be increased, right? So the collaboration increases, the architecture changes, right? Some things work on Android, the same thing doesn't work on iOS. So you have to feel like how we can bring architecture that works on both of the platform, iOS and Android. So this was again major change I saw, right? So different team, different platforms, right? You want to do the same thing. Some things work on a Android, something work on iOS, something work on, both of them. So you have to bring that architecture in and think about that previously only before going implementation. So the next question is, how different is it work as an open source project? So maintained by a big tech from one backed by the community. So I am into a role right now whose work depicts into an open source repo. So my work is entirely open source right now. I do work on some internal code as well, code changes as well, but most of the work is going into open source repository, and my team members who are there, they are also pushing the code into open source repository, that is Fluent UI's open source repository. So this question was very interesting, like how a big tech giants maintain a open source project from the ones backed by the community. Again, if you're first thing you have to understand is when a open source project starts, first of all, it is a project. Like there is a need of it, there is a problem that is solving, right? So there were some projects that were previously closed source, development was going on just like other software engineering teams, and sometimes the maintainers or builders of that project feel like, okay, no, this is the time we should go ahead and give this product to the community, and community can use as well, right? So this happened with the various projects as well. So first thing you understand is the problem requirement, right? So every company you see, like FB or AKM, Meta or Google or any company, big tech giants, we are maintaining open source. First thing you have to see how they are using that product and what is the goal of that product. First thing, for example, if you take any of the product that is open source, first you have to see that how that company is using it, because nobody is gonna just bring out a product without a problem. Basically there should be some problem that they are solving. So how it let's tackle the big tech giants one, how they maintain open source. So for example, if there is open source, there would be a full-time team that works on that open source and decide the roadmap of that open source, right? So there will be a full-time employees of that company who will be working just as like other product on that open source project, and they will decide the roadmap of it, they will contribute to it, they'll take PRs, they'll do everything. But the thing here understand is, as open source people, you can go ahead and change the code of that repo as well. You can do a PR, you can make suggestion as well. So that particular, the roadmap is decided, your code is decided, your entire tasks are decided, but the thing is you can put your suggestion as well here. So they will take in turn, you can do a PR as well, they will review a PR. They are the people who have a deep understanding of that repo, so they will see the PR, they will accept the PR, and they will see, okay, this is great, like we can have this feature, they will accommodate that feature, right? So it's just like you have a full-time team working there in the open source of big tech giant, and then what happens is you go ahead and do contribute to it, and they will accept all your contribution basically. But in what happens is, backed by community, is every community have some other thing as well to do, right? Some open source maintainer are like 4 or 5 open source project they maintain, right? They go there and contribute to it, but the thing is here they are fully concentrated. First priority is the project basically. So this is how it separates in open source backed by the community or open source backed by the big tech giants. The second thing is again funding, like a project needs funding because there are people who are putting their hard work. So in big tech giants, again, like the funding comes from the company itself, and after that what happens is the product roadmap is decided and how we are going to put that. This is how it happens. But the open source is usually backed by various companies or various people out there in the community, so that is backed by them only, right? So here the funding differs again, right? Big tech and open source, like backed by the community. So one is the GitHub sponsor is one of the best features that was recently introduced to have open source project. You can have sponsors will pay you for maintaining that project. So that is also again, as a developer, maintaining an open source project and gaining expertise, as well as it's like running a company that someone is sponsoring you, but your product is used by various open source people as well. So that is one good thing. Third, and next was React Native at Microsoft. So we have been discussing internally about this talk. So there are various talks on various conferences, React and React Native conferences, that have been went off to conferences talk, but we are planning to have a proper React Native conference, React Native at Microsoft talk, that will talk about the entire thing we are doing at Microsoft with React Native. So we have to internal community as well here, so stay tuned for that. If there is any talk that is given by my peers or my teammates or anyone in the React Native community at Microsoft, I will surely share that on Twitter or Instagram or anywhere. So from that you can learn React Native at Microsoft. So there are a few other questions as well, so let's start with that as well. So someone asks where to start for an open source aspirant, right? So I have done many open source contribution as well as a student. So the best place to start is to learn a language or tech stack. So once that you have done that, so you know what tech stack or language, you go to GitHub and you search for projects that have that language as tech stack. Once you get that idea about the project, you can go ahead and learn their contribution section. Most of the projects have that contribution section, or you can learn their readme. And to get started, you can go to the issue section and filter out with good first issue. Good first issue are the issue that are good for for newcomers joining the project. You can target the good first issue, or you can target any issue that you like and would you like to solve. So this is how you get started. Again, you make the change, you make the PR, the maintenance of the project review it, and the maintenance merge it to the project, and this is how you becomes an open source contributor. But again, you have to look for the interest and the tech stack of the project that interests you. And so this was this for this video, and I hope you like this video. This was just sharing of experiences going through my career, whatever I'm feeling, whatever I'm doing. But if you feel like asking anything, put down in the comment section, and I'll see add comments and I reply. If not, reach out on my social media profile, link in the description. Just shoot out a DM or anything. But if you're into Microsoft, I'm available on Teams. We can chat anytime. But with that, I'm closing this video. Thank you so much. I'm glad you watched this video. Just hit the subscribe button, like this video, and share with your friends. I'll see you next time.